So we want to keep the energy up. We've got one more speaker before break, and I have the distinct pleasure of introducing Matt Halloran. Matt is co-founder and chief relationship officer at Proudmouth, which is the largest podcasting company in North America for financial service professionals. He has been named 2 years in a row as one of the most influential people in financial services. He is the author of 3 books. He's got one coming out this fall. And what he's going to do is something very important. There is a great wealth transfer taking place. And what he's going to do is talk about how you can not only retain your piece of that, but also gain more by learning communication techniques that speak to the next generation. So without further ado, let's give a hand for Matt Halloran.
All right, here's the deal. And Mark, you just totally set me up. How in the hell do I follow that with anything? You got 2 standing ovations, and I'm going to talk to you about content creation? That's not cool, guys. Come on, lineup did not favor the bald guy today. All right. So this is going to be really different. I just need all of you to know that we're going to switch some pretty massive gears. Now that you understand how to get your life right, now what we're going to focus on is how to get your communication right. Because here's the deal. If you don't pay attention to the next generation, you don't have a practice, period. And most wirehouses and banks are not trying to retain assets or opportunities. This is a strategic plan of theirs. They are fine with people leaving because they're waiting to pick up what falls from the table. You're at the table with all of your clients, and I'm going to talk to you today about how can you maintain that relationship with the next generation. And the crazy thing is, it's not that difficult. It just takes time and takes a little bit of effort. But everything that Doc was just saying there about making sure that you guys control what you can control, it's amazing to me how many of you are just turning a blind eye to $72 trillion. $72 trillion. And here's my favoriteest thing. You're all ignoring me. Okay? Not from a business perspective, but for my generation. None of you are talking to Generation X. None of you are. Do you have any idea how much money I'm going to inherit? No, you don't, because you're not talking to me about it. We are the people who are the recipient of $72 trillion. And you guys don't want to talk to us because I'm not low-hanging fruit. But I'm telling you right now, if you follow this, and this is actionable. So he took care of motivation. I'm not motivational today. I'm going to tell you step by step what you can do when you get back. Let's see, Stephanie said yesterday that you guys are all going to go back to your offices and drive your team members crazy. I am going to help with that. Because I'm going to have all of these things that you guys are going to have, and I'm assuming you get all the slide decks and everything. This is step by step how you can take new content and existing content and get it out to the people who are going to do business with you. And one last thing before I get on with this. My generation wants guarantees. That's it. I've been through 01, I've been through 06, and I've been through COVID. I'm tired of the market, and I'm speaking for an entire generation. I want guaranteed income. I don't care what I have to pay for it. In fact, I'll pay a premium for it if you can guarantee me that income. And that's what you all can do. So let's get into it. You guys have all heard this from Cerulli. They don't know you. Some of them don't like you. Because you are their parents' advisor. You are their parents' agent. So what do? You have to start communicating with them. There it is. Sorry, 72.6 trillion. I had a 1.4 trillion over. Younger investors by 2045. That's my generation. It's my generation. Everybody I talk to, all of my friends who are, by the way, my generation is fiercely entrepreneurial. Most of us have our own businesses. When I sell my business for the number that I want, which I will do someday, I want to take the majority of that and guarantee myself the lifestyle that I want, because I'm not going to retire, but I want work to be optional. If I want to work, I'll work. My generation is not going to retire in the way that you're dealing with retirement in the baby boomer generation. They're not. We're young at heart. We were the latchkey kids. My mom didn't know where I was until the lights came on in my neighborhood, and that's when I came home. I drank highly lead-filled water out of a garden hose, and I ate whatever I could find. I started smoking at the age of 7. Do you know why? Because I could, and nobody was watching me. We'll talk about that maybe a little bit another time, but whatever. Here it is, everybody. Gen X. Look at that color. Look at that. Bam. None of you are talking to us. That's crazy. I can't believe that you guys are so focused on this short term. Look at this. That's 2026. That's 2 years from now, guys. And then it switches. Bam. Those are my people. So, how many of you want to have a successful business past 2026? Please raise your hand. All right. I want you to have a successful business past 2026. Stephanie talked about this yesterday. Actually, Doc did too. A lot of it has to do with your mindset. Many of you are running practices, you're not trying to grow businesses. And if you actually want to have something that you can pass on to the next generation or sell for a lot of money, this is part of what they're looking for. So I have a whole bunch of friends in this industry who are in mergers and acquisitions. And if you don't have a solid social proof footprint, your practice is not worth the multiples if you did. And it can actually be 2 times what your practice is worth. And as Stephanie said, and actually as Doc even said, you have to be hyper-focused and you have to have a niche. I don't know how else to tell you guys this, but you are wrong when it comes to not having a niche. Your FOMO, fear of missing out, is so overwhelming that you're afraid you're going to not land that next piece of business. When you can have people come to you pre-sold and ready to go. There's a guy who started a tech software called Elements. You guys probably wouldn't use it. It's more on the investment side. He grew his entire business. I think he's at 500 million now. Okay? He sells everything, life, health, and annuities. And all he focuses on is dentists who are selling their businesses. He's the dentist guy. You're a dentist selling the business? Well, you got to call him. He's the guy who does this. You aren't the guy. Most of you aren't that guy. And it's because you're afraid. And I'm okay with that. But if you're going to try to take this to the next level, you have to stop being so fearful of missing out. I can give you, and if you guys want, I've got business cards. You guys can set time on my calendar. Just talk to your ADC. I can give you unbelievably overwhelming statistics proving the math of niching out. The math. Math doesn't lie. You can have your feelings about it. And this doc just said, well, we know what to do with those. It's the reality of the situation. And you guys are missing out on the largest opportunity in the next 10 years. Okay. So what do? You have to do content marketing. When my partner and I started this, 7 years ago, I had to tell people what a podcast was. I used to tell them it's portable radio. It still didn't work. I'm still trying to convince people what the hell a podcast is. Podcasting is just one of the tools that we use to help you create content. In fact, not to be mean, I don't care if anybody listens to your podcast at all. I don't. Because you have to have the social proof that you exist in this marketplace. And what we do is we take this long-form 30-minute podcast. We do audio and video, by the way, now. Set up your YouTube channel, YouTube Shorts, clips that you can share on all your social media platforms. And we create so much content based off of that you are ever present and omnipresent, which you have to be. Because the world has fundamentally changed when it comes to content marketing. Because everybody grab their phone. You all have phones, right? So if you see something on social media, show me the action that you do on your phone if you don't want to see it. Can somebody just give me an idea? What do you do? Yeah, you just swipe. Yeah. Everybody's like, well, Matt, I don't want to over-communicate with my clients. You should hear what Steph said and what Doc just said, right? And if they don't want to see your stuff, they just swipe by. But they saw you. It used to take 7 touches to convince somebody to do something. 7. Does anybody know what that new number is? It's 20. It's statistically proven it is 20 different pieces of farming seeds that you have to put out there before they will even think about clicking on anything you've done. 20. And most of you aren't doing 2. And you're like, I don't understand. Social media doesn't work. It's not, because you're not working social media. Podcasting doesn't work. I don't have 9,000 people listening to my show. If you have 9,000 people listening to your show, you're in the top 1% of all podcasts in the world. If you have 485 downloads to your podcast, you're in the top 20% of all podcasts in the world. No, none of you are going to be the next Joe Rogan. You also don't have $10 million behind you that he's paid almost every episode, plus the production team, plus somebody feeding you, smoking a joint with Elon Musk. Of course that's going to get clicks. You have to be hyper-focused, narrowly focused, and you have to do it through content. So content multiplication. A lot of you pay for content. How many of you pay for content? I know you get it from InsureMark. Please raise your hand. Right? Well, most of you. Okay. Wow. Not a lot of you do. This is going to really be painful for me. Okay. Has anybody ever written a book or a blog or a white paper? Raise your hand. Okay, there we go. Okay, great. This 5-step atomic content method that I'm going to show you today, you can take that white paper and turn it into as many pieces of content as you want. Now, the other thing that I need you to understand is you have to be repetitive. Does anybody know when Just Do It came out with Nike? I'm sorry? It was 1987. Okay, you're very close. Have they changed their tagline since 1987? Yeah, why would they? It's the greatest tagline ever. But you guys are afraid that if you do 2 pieces of content about a Roth conversion, that you're telling people you're just being repetitive. That's marketing, dude. You guys remember television? I know it was a long time ago, but there were commercial breaks. A.G. Wentworth. Does anybody remember that commercial? Yeah, I bet you could all sing that. Yeah. And I want it now. That was repetitive. You know how long it's been since A.G. Wentworth probably probably a long time. Yeah, 5-7 years. You still remember that. I can whistle, which I'm not going to do because I'm not very good at it, different musical bits, and you guys will all remember the commercial I'm talking about. You have to be wildly repetitive 20 times. That's 20 times with the same message. That's not 20 different messages. That's 20 times with the same call to action. All right. So it's a confetti cannon, everybody. With one white paper, with one podcast, with one long-form video, you can do all of these things. Now, some of you might be a little worried about artificial intelligence. I am too. Mostly because I think it's going to kill us all at some day, which is why I'm very polite to artificial intelligence when I'm using it. So I will go ahead and I will take a white paper, I'll throw it into ChatGPT-4, and I will say, please create blankety, 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 blank. Because I think AI is going to remember I said please and kill me after all of you. But due to technology today, you can create all of this from one piece of content. Okay? Now, unfortunately, most of you don't know prompt engineering, and that's not one of your skill sets, so you can outsource it to a company like ours. That's why I'm here. We are entirely approved at InsureMark. This is what I have a team of humans do for you every day. We do about 150 podcast topics or 150 podcast episodes for financial services professionals, and we do about 1,500 social media posts every month. We are a finely tuned machine. Finely tuned machine. That didn't come out right. That's what we do. So you have to be audience focused. Content marketing fundamentally changed everything. You have to be in front of your ideal target market in the media they prefer while they're there. All right, Russ, who's your ideal client?
Retired individual with less than $1 million of net worth that needs help, wants help.
Okay, rough age.
60s.
60s. Does anybody know where 60-year-old lives online? Facebook, you're right. How many of you are doing Facebook ads? Couple. Few. Okay? So if I took that, no, I'm sorry, you live in Florida, right? California. Damn it. I knew it was someplace warmer than where I live. Okay, where in California?
Southern California.
Southern California. Where?
Canyon Lake.
Canyon Lake. So on Facebook specifically, he could go ahead and do a Facebook ad campaign to Canyon Lake, ages 60 and above, with X and X and X and X and X and X. But the problem is your X's have to get more and more focused. So if you all look at your book of business, there's probably some level of commonality between who your clients worked for, worked with, did for a living. That's the level of specificity that you need to have, because if not, you're not talking to them. You sound like Ken Fisher. Yeah, and I did that purposely, brother. Yeah? Well, if you want to sound like Ken Fisher, then you're going to be in a sea of sameness, which is really what the biggest issue is and why content marketing doesn't work for most of you. Because you're trying to market to everybody. You are never going to outspend Fisher. You're never going to outspend Dave Ramsey. You're never going to outspend Ed Jones. You're never going to outspend Ameriprise. Ever. Because they're just throwing money at a huge audience. What you have to do is throw a small amount of money at a very small audience. If you got 20 of those this year, what would that generate for you? Here, InsureMark money. Okay, $3 or $4 million in premium for sure, which would pocket what for you? A couple $100,000. Okay? So it's an A plus B equals C equation. It's just a longer equation. This is not lead generation. It's not. This is long-form business building marketing. So I used to work with a guy named Ron Carson. Does anybody have any idea who that guy is? Okay, so he was my mentor for many, many years. He started marketing his brand 40 years ago. I'm sorry, that's not true. 30 years ago when he was 20. Okay? He hasn't changed any of it. Still Carson Wealth, still has the same mission, still has the same vision, still going after the same people. And I don't know if you've been paying attention to what happened with this dude, but he's worth almost $1 billion now because he took the long view. Most of you are all taking a very, very short view. Doc talked about that. It took people out of the forest, and everybody's like, they can't see past their hand in front of their face. You can't do that with marketing. You have to take the long view. Understand that the investment that you make today is going to pay dividends later down the road, which isn't that what you all do with your clients? Like, isn't that the model? You can give me a bunch of money now, and then later, it's going to help you live the life that you wanted. Our service is no different. The other thing that you need to make sure that you're doing is you're focusing where your ideal client and target market is. Facebook for a lot of you. My generation is on Facebook. My generation is also on Instagram. My generation is also on TikTok. My generation is also on Twitter, X, whatever the hell it's called. Now, but you know where I go for information? What? Google. I'm going to Google the hell out of you, and if you don't have a 5-star or any sort of Google My Business thing, you do not exist in my world. I am not going to click on you. If you also don't have a social media profile, I'm not going to click on you. If I can't download something for free without giving you my email address, I am not going to click on you. Not. Because you know I can get whatever you wrote for free somewhere else. You have to be willing to build a long-term relationship with people who you don't know who they are, which is not how we were all trained. I had my life, health, and annuity license for a long time. I went to Ohio National's general agent training. First thing that they said to me, don't ever ask a question you don't know the answer to. What kind of boring life is that? That's what this is. You're asking questions you don't know the answer. And you're also not getting direct feedback. You have to play the long game. Long game. This is where it gets magical. All right. You guys, how many of you do seminars? Raise your hand. Yeah, good. That's what I thought. And you do webinars, I'm assuming, too, so you do virtual stuff? How long is your average webinar? 45 minutes. Seminar, same? An hour. So you're good at that.
Could be better.
Could be better. Okay, I'm not challenging you, my friend. I'm just asking. So, yeah, okay, I appreciate that. All right, so you could be better. Okay, well, I really appreciate the honesty on it. So for those of you who could be better, which is all of you, you still created an hour's worth of content. Using this method, you can turn that hour's worth of content into hundreds of pieces of content. Hundreds. That's it. Like I can leave right now. Now I'm going to show you how to do it with an actual case study that we have right here. So I want you to just kind of look at these questions. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Because here's the deal. When you're creating long-form content, especially when you're doing audio or video, you have to actually enjoy doing it, and you also have to be good at it. So many of you will grab your phone, and you'll take a video, and it's terribly lit, the audio sucks, and you're wondering why people don't click on it, because everybody likes you, right? It's because your content sucks. Quality sucks. The other thing is a lot of you are talking like you're talking to your fellow financial advisor friends, your agent friends, your InsureMark buddies. You guys are talking all waxing philosophical about pie charts and bar graphs and alpha, beta, gamma, and the Hulk and all sorts of stuff, and your clients don't care. Prospects really don't care. You need to keep it simple, keep it direct, keep it engaging, keep it consistent. Here it is. So Marcia Miller is a client of ours. She's with RFG Advisory Group. It is not a pitch for RFG. Step number 1, find the gold. So I'm going to talk about gold. It's a 5-step atomic content model. It's all based off gold. Gold is when you say something like this. When you have an actionable tip. Something that elicits an emotional response. You all know when you're doing a webinar or a seminar that there are things that you say that make people feel things. A lot of it's fear. That's content. One of my favorite things that happens during our podcasting system is you actually have a professional voice talent that actually interviews you. So I've got 4 of them. One of them's an Emmy Award-winning one. Another one is an Emmy-nominated broadcaster. One of the other ones did 25 years of morning drive radio. And the other one was the first female newsroom editor at the Wall Street Journal. We get some pretty high-talent people. And what happens all the time is this. Because we ask questions, and then we ask the next level question, and when you ask the next level question, it makes and forces all of you to explain something in a way that you haven't explained it that way before. That's great content. So this right here is our transcript. Now, I'm showing you behind the scenes of what we do. Yeah, you guys can take as many pictures as you want of all of this. So after you get done with your podcast, we do a transcript. Now, we do this because out of the 8,000 episodes that we've done, we've had 0 compliance issues, and I'd like to keep it that way. We don't publish anything at any time until we get compliance approval. I don't even care if you don't have compliance. You still have to email us and say this is approved, or I'm not publishing anything anywhere at all. So this is her transcript. So at 17 minutes and 23 seconds into the transcript, Marcia Miller says that there's this Babe Ruth quote she absolutely loves. It's about not giving up. Now, Marcia, as the whopping one woman in the room, there was more than that earlier. Sorry. I am sure that you remember, I don't know how long you've been in the business, you're really young. I don't know if you remember how terrible this industry was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Marcia talks about it a lot. The misogyny, the sexism, the sexual harassment, all of that stuff that was wildly ubiquitous at every one of these conferences she dealt with, she always went back to the Babe Ruth saying, I'm not giving up. Screw them. And now she is unbelievably successful. But the craziest thing about Marcia, she only focuses on veterinarians in Florida. Her podcast is called Making Hay. So we take this, we turn it into more content. So here's what it looks like. We do social media posts, both text-based. This is all zero-click content, by the way. If there is nothing else that you get from me today, please look up zero-click content. Basically, that means you're not trying to direct people somewhere, because, by the way, LinkedIn now, if you put a post or if you put a link within the post, it will warn you you are leaving LinkedIn. That scares people, and so they're not going to your website. They're not. Because, oh my God, that could be a virus, especially your guys' audience, which are boomers. Terrified of being hacked. But this is all the wonderful things you can do with it. This is what we did with it. We turned it into a LinkedIn post, an Instagram post, an X, whatever the hell you call X now. An Xen. It's a tweet. It's what it is. That's it. Look. This is all from one Babe Ruth quote. One. And here's the deal. Mario, if somebody doesn't like it, they just swipe by. But they still saw Marcia Miller. They still saw Babe Ruth. They still felt that touch. That's one of the things that Doc was talking about, writing thank you notes. Just if you're ever present and omnipresent online, that actually makes your clients feel better because they know you're still alive. I don't know if you've all looked around, but you aren't all spring chickens here. I mean, wow. Okay, you guys were brutal on Stephanie yesterday, by the way. She had so much energy, and it was like crickets in here. Do you guys need a coffee break or get up? I mean, I thought after Doc, you guys would be like, yeah. I'm not being mean, I'm being honest. How many of you have your clients asked you if you have a succession plan or not? Anybody? Yeah. That should really scare the living hell out of you. But if you're ever present and omnipresent, they know you're still alive and you're kicking. But more important, that you are willing to give your information away for free. So many of you, I talk to you all the time, every day. I do all of the sales at Proudmouth. But Matt, I don't want to give away my secret sauce. You have no sauce. No sauce. You have you. That's what people are buying. This gives you the opportunity to connect with more people at scale so they feel who you are. So look, there's a pretty social media post that we did for Marcia. And we, for every piece of long-form content that you do, we create anywhere from 7 to 10 pieces of content for you that is custom written by a human being. I have a graphic design team. I have an SEO team. I know that there are very specific words that we have to put in your social media posts so that they please the algorithm. They change the algorithm all the time. My team researches the algorithm and makes sure that we're consistently posting the things that are going to get clicks and show up in people's feeds. Step number 3, share the gold. So you got to share the gold. I'm telling all of you right now, all of you can be on social media. I will meet with any of your compliance departments anytime you want. We are approved at Ameriprise. If you all think your compliance is bad, think about Ameriprise. The number one producer at Ameriprise uses our system because we have it all laid out. But here's the thing that you all have to remember. Don't say stupid stuff. So many of you love to get really close to the line and say stupid stuff. We were just talking about that a couple nights ago, right? Sometimes why? Such as what? Yes. So here's the deal. Just don't say what you're not supposed to say, and it's going to go through compliance. Say what you're not supposed to say when things aren't being recorded, like in a client meeting, on the phone. This is not that. This is mass communicating. Did anybody ever see the movie Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Yeah, this is mass communicating. Then you have to interact with gold. This is where you guys fall down. Now, some of you might have tripped a little bit here, but this is where a lot of you fall down because you're terrified of responding to people's comments on social media. My team has created a document that has passed every single solitary compliance oversight on what you are allowed to say in response to a post so it doesn't seem like a testimonial or endorsement. Look, we got this. That was approved. Because did she say what this was? No. Interesting but incomplete information is how you get past all compliance. Interesting but incomplete information. And look who she's talking to. She's talking to a veterinarian. That's her ideal client. Here's where I get the biggest level of resistance, which is rinse, lather, and repeat. From that one Babe Ruth quote, I can take that piece of content or those pieces of content and I can repost them all of these times. Let's say I'm in need of content. Opening day of baseball, Marcia Miller. Babe Ruth quote. You're a veterinarian, Babe Ruth quote. COIs, Babe Ruth quote. Hey, I really like this Marcia lady. I just met her recently. Or, hey, Marcia, thank you for that connection. I don't ever give up, Babe Ruth. This is how you have to change your thinking about the content that you're creating, is you can use it over and over and over again. You don't have to create brand new content every day, all day, because most of you have an actual job. Don't you? You don't have time to do this. It takes my team 20 hours of time between the people on my team to build all of this for our clients. To put that in perspective, you don't have 20 hours. For every podcast you do, you don't have 20 hours. What did I tell you last night? How much time is it going to take you to podcast with us or your daughter? 2 hours when you get good. 2 to 3 hours to start. Luckily, he's not going to do it. He's going to have his daughter do it. All right. So we actually have 2 solutions, but before I get to that, I'm going to go back. I'm sorry. Crap, I can go back, right? All right. There's some really, really, really great tools that I want to tell you about. So if you don't write anything else down, write a couple of these tools down. Number one is a free program called Canva. If you have not used Canva yet, it is free. It is unbelievable. It will format everything in any social media post size you need because, by the way, they're all different.
What's it called?
Canva, C-A-N-V-A, Canva. It is free. You create any sort of content that's longer than 7 to 10 minutes, you need to use a product called Descript. Descript is a transcription service. It is not free, but it will actually outline everything so you can submit that content to compliance. If you are struggling with trying to figure out what you're going to talk about, we use a wonderful tool called MindMeister. That is also free. It is a mind mapping tool that will help you start with one topic, the drawbacks of a Roth conversion, all the way to all of the talking points that you're going to have in your long-form content. Okay? We also use Zoom, surprisingly enough, to record the majority of our podcasts. Zoom has made unbelievable strides in audio and video quality. If you want to take the next step up, you go to riverside.fm. That way, you can take that high-quality video, and it's separated from a file perspective, so you can only take your video, or you can side-by-side them, top or bottom, depending on what social media platform that you're working on. Okay? These are all absolutely fantastic tools that all of you guys can use if you have the time and you don't want to outsource it to professionals. Okay. So one of the bonus ideas that I want to go ahead and share with all of you guys, I really, really want to focus on your webinars, okay, or your seminars. Every slide that you have is social media content. Every point on every slide is social media content. This is not an option anymore. Some of you might remember, because I do, when you weren't allowed to use email. I remember when so many of you weren't able to have your own website. All of you now have email, I hope, and almost all of you probably have at least a palatable website. But only 12% of financial services professionals, which includes anybody who's licensed in anything, only 12% of them are podcasting right now. 12%, which is nothing. It is one of the most powerful, most intimate communication tools. When your clients and prospects can hear your voice when it's convenient for them, that's unbelievable. And you guys already have all the content. It happens in client meetings. You're sitting down with the client says, all right, Mario, I'm going to come back to you. You're making strong eye contact, so I appreciate that. When you were in your last client meeting, what was their biggest concern? Their future, okay? What an amazing, very easy social media post, because questions get clicks. Are you concerned about your future? Every one of you could post that right now on social media, and none of you would see anybody else's post on social media. Are you concerned about your future? Are you prepared for your future? What does the future hold? That's it. Guys, just do it now. Get on Twitter, get on LinkedIn, and type in, are you concerned about your future? What does your future hold? You are going to get people to start interacting with that because people want to answer questions. Questions. One of the greatest podcast titles that you can use for an episode is a question. Oh, I have that question. Yes, you do have that question. Everybody's afraid of their future, man. Everybody. Doesn't matter if you're working with one of the advisors that is a good friend of mine. He only works with podiatrists in Michigan. He was able to go ahead and get with the Michigan Podiatric, some acronym, I don't remember what it was. And he, 2 weeks ago, was at their convention for free with a huge booth talking about actually MEPs, multi-employer plans, and also disability insurance. They wanted him there. They asked him to be there. He didn't have to pay tens of thousands of dollars to sponsor it. Why aren't you guys doing this? Right. We have two solutions for you. First off, so many of you are fiercely entrepreneurial. I get it. I'm fiercely entrepreneurial. But I subscribe to the Dan Sullivan strategy of who, not how. And I'm really tired of always being the how. Because I can do all of this. In fact, when Kirk and I started this business, I did every single solitary podcast. I wrote every piece of social media. I edited every episode, put the custom intro and outro on, took out the ums, so's, you knows. I did it all. Now we have a team of 33 people. I don't want to do it anymore. I own the business. I don't need to. You should be asking yourself that question. But if you want, or you have a team member that you want to learn how to do this atomic content method, all you have to do is scan here. Okay? This is the PodRocket Influence Academy. Right now it is free. It is not going to be free for much longer. This is free. This will take you through 40 different courses that will help you and your team be more successful in content marketing. Now, if you get the paid version, which I think we actually have a deal with InsureMark on, so you can talk to me about that, the paid version gets you access to 8 hours of office hours a month, including our advanced courses. Our office hours are open coaching sessions where you meet with me and my team to solve all of your marketing issues, events, branding, SEO, website, whatever you want. Okay? Or you can actually hire people who literally do this all day, every day, which is my team. You can either schedule a call with Mark or myself. I'm more than happy to go ahead and chat with you. I'm going to be handing out some stuff here in the next session in order to get you guys some more information on a couple of our new products and services, which wasn't what I wanted to talk to you about today. Really just wanted to give you guys the opportunity to see one of your biggest concerns about creating content and content marketing is you don't know what to use. And I really hope I gave you at least a little bit of insight today that you guys have already done the work. You've done the work. Now we take what you've created and we chop it up into a whole bunch of little pieces and we post it for you on social in a compliant manner. All you have to do is show up, do the recording, and prove it, and then you have to go do fan maintenance. I can't do your fan maintenance for you. That violates like every compliance standard in the whole wide world. Right. I am sorry that I wasn't as entertaining as the doctor. I am sorry that I didn't do a bunch of call and response because I felt like I was in church. I don't know about anybody else. That brought me back to my younger days and we were dancing hands in the air. And he's absolutely fantastic. That's actually not why InsureMark has a relationship with our company. InsureMark wants you to start marketing like it's this century, not the 1900s, which is what most of you were doing. That was one of the most painful things my children ever said to me. But Dad, that was in the 1900s. You graduated from high school in the 1900s. Ooh, I felt really old. But here's the deal. This is so much easier than all of you are making it. It's not that expensive, but it is an investment. And it also takes time. And I'll leave you with that. If you think that you can go ahead and start a podcast with us, take your team and have them go through the PodRocket Influence Academy, and you're going to get business within the first 30, 60, 90 days, I'm not for you. Go to a seminar marketing company. Go to direct mail buy leads, which, by the way, I think should be all part of your marketing, by the way. But if you're looking at trying to set a substantial amount of social proof so that you stop talking to skeptics, because that's who you're talking to, people who don't know you, don't like you, don't trust you. That was, everybody yesterday talked about that, okay? Moving those from skeptics to fans where people know who you are, they feel like they know you, and they already trust you. And I'll leave you with this. When Mark went to the first conference with us, it was an FPA national conference, and I'm standing at the booth. We have this glowing booth. And this guy from probably 250 yards away goes, Matt! And he starts running to it. Now, it scared me a little bit. He's running towards me. He should not have been running, but he was running towards me, and he gave me this huge hug. Dude, he's telling me about his wife and his kids and how he's starting content marketing, how he started a video series and his practice is growing and all of that sort of stuff. And he's like, Matt, and I know that you have chickens and that you do metal art and I know that you used to play the tuba, and he like knew all of these things about me, right? Then he goes ahead and he's like, okay, I gotta go, high five, and walks away. And Mark goes, who was that guy? I said, I have no idea. I still, to this day, have no idea who that guy was. But he knew me. And the reason he knew me is because of everything I taught you today. Consistent, social proof content marketing, allowing your personality to come out and your expertise to come out. All right, with that, everybody, I'll be around. If you have any questions, thank you very much for your time.
All right. Yep. Thank you, Matt.